A kid from Lagos just became the fastest man alive. 20 years, one record, smashed. And get this, his coach used to hold the actual world record. When Kanyinsola Ajayi crossed that line in Lexington, Leroy Burrell was watching. The same Burrell who was the fastest man on earth back in 1994. And what Burrell said after watching his student run 9.84 seconds tells you everything about what they have been building together at Auburn. More on that soon. First, you need the backstory. This is way bigger than just a fast time. It starts in Lagos, with a personal best of 10.26 and zero guarantees. Ikorodu, loud, crowded, working class. Nobody hands you a shot here. You make your own. Kanyinsola Ajayi grew up there, born September 14, 2004. He was fast from day one, the kind of fast people notice without trying. In 2021, he wins 2 sprints at a school games event. Nothing big yet. By 2022, his best time is 10.26. Nigeria's record back then, 9.85, set in 2006. That gap is huge. Most sprinters never close it. But Ajayi was different. He lands at Auburn, training under a former world record holder. Then the real grind starts. The SEC is brutal. Future Olympians every weekend. No hiding. Ajayi shows up anyway. He wins SEC freshman indoor gold, takes silver at NCAA indoors, finishes 4th at NCAA outdoors running 10.13. Close but not enough. Then 2026 nearly wrecks everything. SEC championships, just a prelim. Ajayi eases up at the line. His own teammate beats him by a hair. He misses the final completely. Ajayi misses the final. The man who was 6th in the world at the World Championships, the man the entire Nigerian sprinting community is watching, the man who was supposed to chase down a 20-year-old national record is sitting in the stands at his own conference championships watching someone else race. He says afterwards that he just had to make himself happy again. No anger, no meltdown, just a guy figuring out how to bounce back. What comes next is 2 weeks later at the NCAA East Regionals in Lexington, Kentucky, and Ajayi has clearly decided that he is never easing up at a line again. Before I tell you what happens, let me tell you about the man watching from the sideline, because this is the part of the story that makes the number hit different. Leroy Burrell, head coach of sprinting at Auburn University. In 1994, he ran 9.85 seconds in the 100 meters. That was not just a personal best, that was the world record, the fastest any human being had ever run at the time. Leroy Burrell stood at the absolute top of world sprinting and held the most prestigious individual record in all of athletics. Now he coaches, and when Kanyinsola Ajayi came to Auburn, Burrell saw something worth building very carefully. Burrell never rushes anyone. He builds slow, layer by layer. That's why Auburn keeps churning out world-class sprinters. The system just works. Ajayi said after the race his coach told him what to do, and he trusted his preparation completely. "My coach told me what to do. I knew I was in good shape. I just had to come here and execute." Those are Ajayi's own words. That is what trust between a coach and an athlete looks like. No big speech, no complicated strategy. Just go do what we have been building toward. And Ajayi executes. But before the big moment, rewind to early 2026. One race shows exactly where his head was at. March 2026, NCAA Indoor Championships, Fayetteville, Arkansas. Ajayi runs 6.45 seconds in the 60 meters, ties Christian Coleman's collegiate record, sets the African indoor record, wins the national title. The best collegiate 60-meter time in history, matched by a kid from Ikorodu who was running 10.26 in Lagos 4 years ago. He is not just developing anymore, he's arriving. The athletics world starts to genuinely pay attention, not as a Nigerian talent or an interesting college prospect, as a real contender, a man who can compete with the best on the planet. But the outdoor 100 meters is a different race entirely, and the national record is still there, Fasua's 9.85, set in Doha in May 2006, a record so durable that 20 years of Nigerian sprinting had left it completely untouched. Now, think about what Ajayi has to do. His personal best going into the 2026 outdoor season is 9.88. He needs to run 9.84 just to beat it against the national record that his own coach's world record basically mirrors. May 29, 2026, Lexington, Kentucky, NCAA East Regionals. 2 weeks after sitting in the stands at the SEC Championships, Ajayi runs his first race of the day, 9.90. Fast, clean, controlled. He qualifies easily. Then the second race, he gets into the blocks, the gun fires, 9.84 seconds. World lead for 2026, fastest man on the planet right now. Second fastest collegiate 100 meters in history, behind only Christian Coleman's 9.82 set in 2017. And Fasua's 9.85 Nigerian national record that had stood since 2006 is gone. 20 years erased. Let me put 9.84 in complete context because it deserves it. This is a time that would have won bronze at the 2023 World Championships. It is faster than every man alive ran at the Paris 2024 Olympics except the finalists. It puts Ajayi in a conversation with the best sprinters in the history of the sport. And he ran it at a college qualifying meet. Not the World Championships, not the Olympics. A qualifying meet to get into the NCAA Championships. After the race, Ajayi is emotional. His words say it all, simple and real. He says, "I have always been dreaming about it. God made it happen. I am very grateful." Then he says, "Shout out to Olusohi Fasuba." That shout out matters because Fasuba earned it. 20 years that record held, and when it finally fell, the man who said it responded in a way that nobody who only follows sprinting casually would expect. Imagine waking up to find your 20-year record gone. Nobody feels pure joy in that moment. It's complicated. It's human. But Fasuba has been in the sport long enough to understand what this means for Nigeria. He has been vocal for years about wanting Nigerian men sprinting to push forward. And when the record fell, he did not complain, he did not question the conditions. He posted publicly and said something that the entire Nigerian athletics community needed to hear. He said his heart was full of joy, no limits. He said 2 years ago he had predicted that this young talent would be one of the athletes capable of breaking his record, and today he had done exactly that. Then he said, "Records are not meant to stand forever. They are meant to inspire the next generation to dream bigger, work harder, and push the boundaries even further." Drop it in the comments right now. When someone breaks your record after 20 years, do you think you could react like that? Because I am genuinely not sure I could. But here's the detail that hits hardest. Bigger than the world lead, bigger than Fasua's grace. Leroy Burrell ran 9.85 in 1994. That was the world record. Ajayi just ran 9.84. The student beat his coach's world record. The man who once stood at the very top of world sprinting built the program that produced an athlete from Ikorodu, Lagos, who just went 1/100th of a second faster than he ever did. Burrell ran 9.85, Ajayi ran 9.84. Burrell's record isn't even Auburn's fastest time anymore. This isn't just coaching. This is the right kid meeting the right teacher at the right moment. A kid who was running 10.26 at an all-comers meet in Nigeria 4 years ago, who won school game sprints with nobody really watching, who made it to Auburn and spent 3 years building something under a coach who knew exactly what a world-level sprint career looks like because he lived one himself. And now, Ajayi stands at the top of the 2026 world rankings, the fastest man on the planet, from Ikorodu, Lagos. NCAA championships are next, then the Commonwealth Games, then 2027 Worlds, where Nigeria has never won 100 meters gold. Not once, ever. Ajayi is 21 years old, running 9.84, with a full year of development still ahead of him before those championships. The African record sits at 9.76, held by Ferdinand Omanyala. Ajayi is 700ths away. He says his focus is on himself, not his rivals, not the records, just execution, which is exactly what Leroy Burrell taught him to say, because a man who once held the world record knows better than anyone what happens when you start chasing numbers instead of races. So tell me now, 2027 World Championships, Ajayi in the final, running for Nigeria. Does he become Nigeria's first ever 100 meters world champion and break the African record in the process to announce a completely new era for African sprinting? Drop it below. Every comment gets read.